Here are famous quotes by Sigmund Freud. The mind is like an iceberg, it floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. The great question that has never been answered, and which I have not yet been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is what does a woman want? He that has eyes to see and ears to hear may convince himself that no mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips, betrayal oozes out of him at every pore. The intention that man should be happy is not in the plan of creation. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. I cannot think of any need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Where does a thought go when it's forgotten? A woman should soften but not weaken a man. Experience teaches us that the world is not a nursery. Future ages will produce further great advances in this realm of culture, probably inconceivable now, and will increase man's likeness to a god still more. Words have magical power. They can bring either the greatest happiness or deepest despair. It is that we are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love, never so helplessly unhappy as when we have lost our loved object or its love. Religion is an attempt to get control over the sensory world, in which we are placed, by means of the wish world, which we have developed inside us as a result of biological and psychological necessities. He does not believe that does not live according to his belief. When making a decision of minor importance, I have always found it advantageous to consider all the pros and cons. Everywhere I go I find a poet has been there before me. Religion is a system of wishful illusions together with a disavowal of reality. Life, as we find it, is too hard for us. It brings us too many pains, disappointments, and impossible tasks. In the depths of my heart, I can't help being convinced that my dear fellow men, with a few exceptions, are worthless. Neurotics complain of their illness, but they make the most of it, and when it comes to taking it away from them, they will defend it like a lioness or young. Words are capable of arousing the strongest emotions and prompting all men's actions. Everyone has wishes which he would not like to tell to others, which he does not want to admit even to himself. The virtuous man contents himself with dreaming that which the wicked man does in actual life. We are what we are because we have been what we have been. Dreams may be thus stated, they are concealed realizations of repressed desires. Dreams with a painful content are to be analyzed as the fulfillment of wishes. Dream disfigurement, then, turns out in reality to be an act of the censor. The ideas so far produced are insufficient for the interpretation of the dream. The dream is a sort of substitution for those emotional and intellectual trains of thought. Dreams tell us many an unpleasant biological truth about ourselves, and only very free minds can thrive on such a diet. Self-deception is a plant which withers fast in the pellucid atmosphere of dream investigation. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. If youth knew, if age could. Love and work are the cornerstones of our humanness. The scope of one's personality is defined by the magnitude of that problem which is capable of driving a person out of his wits. Before you diagnose yourself with depression or low self-esteem, make sure that fools do not surround you. When inspiration does not come to me, I go halfway to meet it. Love and work, work and love, that's all there is. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Out of your vulnerabilities will come to your strength. Immorality, no less than morality, has at all times found support in religion. No one who, like me, conjures up the vilest of those half-tamed demons that inhabit the human breast and seeks to wrestle with them, can expect to come through the struggle unscathed. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. One thing about human beings puzzles me the most is their conscious effort to be connected with the object of their affection even if it kills them slowly with it. Whoever loves becomes humble. Those who love have, so to speak, pawned a part of their narcissism. In the small matters trust the mind, in the large ones the heart. Support us by subscribing to Possible for Sure and for more quotes.